YouTube. Oh, YouTube. Now, some of you may or may not know, you can go watch my previous videos on this. YouTube has struck me twice by way of claiming medical misinformation. Now, I am the back-to-back repeal champion. However, considering that both of those had to be removed because they are bullshit. I think what happens with sites like YouTube actually goes two things that I want to add to that. One being is that I think a lot of times they expect you to, if they do, be it strike you, something, let's say, wrongfully done to your channel that you're hosting on whatever website of a lot of these bigger companies, tech companies, social media sites. They expect you to just bend over and take it. Now, in addition to that, there's only so much you can do if you can't ruffle feathers. If you don't have that following and you don't have the behind the scenes people that can get in contact with them directly, say, hey, you might want to get this corrected. Otherwise, we're going to have to look into some other things. See, when I talk about that's why I've said like people that approach it in this, oh, let's get the government involved. I think, of course, that is the worst possible thing that you can have involved when you consider deplatforming and stuff like that. I've always said that there is a term of service for the most part that happens with these websites that they have to acknowledge and they have to honor. And some people just completely ignore that as if that isn't basically a contractual obligation that they need to honor. So if they do something wrongful, it's not just you did something wrongful. Maybe they did something wrongful and you should be able to basically hold them to that. Now, again, only certain people are going to even go that route, even more so the ones that are going to know whose buttons to press in order to make sure that they make a little noise. And I have been fortunate enough to make that noise. And this is why, though they've attempted to strike me twice, those gotten removed and they even had to tweet at me. So acknowledging it publicly, okay, we have been fucking up. We need to kind of stop here. But check this out. There's something here that they have been pushing that I think is going to, I don't want to say it's going to like completely change the website of YouTube. This is what we're talking about on YouTube. But it is going to add to the idea of a lot of smoke and mirrors, which you guys know that YouTube isn't what it was, where it seemed to be more about like the creators and the people wanting to find those creators. Now it's not as much. Not to say that it's completely absent of that. No, it's still a go-to for a lot of people, and understandably so. However, it's going in this route where, and you've seen that over the last years, manufacturing. So this is why sometimes some people call it DayTube now, or ThemTube, because now that they are in the, and it was something that was happening, obviously around Google acquiring it, but even after that, they had seemed to at least still try to prioritize creators, and then they went in a different route, and it's a lot of manufactured. You got people that, for example, cross over into Hollywood and go into YouTube, and it's a complete boost by way of YouTube. It's nothing like honest. It's fake. It's smoke and mirrors. It's manufactured. But check this out. On the recent Creator Insider, which I watch these. I know some people don't even watch these. I watch these because they tend to drop little nuggets of how they're operating on the site that just goes under the radar. As you can see, only, for example, this is coming directly from the Creator Insider, coming from the people that work within YouTube. As you see, I downvoted it for a reason that I'm going to explain here in a little bit. Only 46,000 people have watched this. Now, you may know about this, but I'm going to bring this up here in a bit. So they said that this whole video is talking about the algorithm of YouTube. You hear that term used a lot, algorithm, and basically that's having to do with the discovery. How does your material get out in a favorable way in which an audience can view it? So that she's explaining this, and part of it in explaining this, she talks about watch time. And over here, you see, like back in the Gap 2011, she is saying that clicks and views would drive, obviously, at one point. So you had clicks and views. Said some clickbaity and misleading titles and thumbnails would drive some of the discovery aspects. Now, going a year after that, they started looking in more so into watch time. So you spend time watching this video for an extended period of time, then that video is going to be put out into the eyes of other people, or rather in the view of other people, because they'll look at it from a standpoint of, well, this means that this is a video that is likable, and there are going to be people more likely to stick and watch this video. Now, a lot of that's bull crap, because if I look at my watch time all the time, and it doesn't even get my viewership to, my watch time is generally high, and it doesn't even get my viewership to my own subscribers. It doesn't even give it to my own subscribers. Don't even be seeing my stuff. But 2015 to today, you can see that there's been a pivot here, and this is what they say. And if you look over here with these three little bullet points, they ask viewers. So they're asking some of you guys have seen them, which apparently matter. You've seen the questions that you'll get asked. I had someone bring that up to me in a comment of the recent video that I released, saying that I got asked about what that last bullet point here. But you see, they ask the viewers what they like so they can optimize, like, hey, did you like this video? Yada, yada. But you look at bullet point 2 and 3, and what does it say? For those of you that are viewing this or listening to this, maybe audio wise, over at 4cannoncheck.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. It says raise authoritative content. What the fuck does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. Now, of course, she doesn't word it in this sort of way, but it's this idea that you look at a person like some sort of content. And obviously, with this past year, a lot of that has been in the medical sense, right? Whether it's like an echo chamber of one type of medical expert that is going to be looked at, or type of expert, usually public officials who are spreading doom and gloom. But when you talk about raising authoritative content, what does that mean? Well, it means that they are going to prioritize people that they feel should be authority figures on certain subjects, meaning that, goes back to the smoke and mirrors, those are going to be the people that you generally see more often, who get favorable exception by way of the algorithm. Now that's bogus. Now then you look at this third one: reduce the spread of borderline volatile content. What does that mean? Sounds very vague. That's because it is. Content that they generally see as unfavorable will not be favorable in terms of the algorithm. Doesn't matter if that's something that the viewers want to see. You see, and this goes back, if you listen to, this is why it was hilarious. You know, YouTube gave Susan, I don't know how to say her dang last name, but let's say Susan was CEO of YouTube. It's funny how YouTube themselves gives her like this free speech award, which was hilarious to me. But even in that, where she's accepting of this award, she even talks about this. She talks specifically about basically getting people off of the website, and how that's something that they prided themselves in doing, in getting people off of this website. How many accounts that they've closed down, and obviously there's been a lot of crossfire. People that shouldn't have gotten taken down have been taken down. So this is what I would think that, or what I picked up from this after watching this. And of course, this is a video that we're not going to watch here and break down. Not like that. It wasn't the point. You can go watch this yourself. It's called Behind the Algorithm: How Search and Discovery Works on YouTube. If you pick up some of what YouTube has been saying, definitely over the last year, expect a lot of fake discovery. And what I mean by that is people that have been placed there, not people that are putting up a product and they had this sort of organic growth in terms of either their channel or their videos or something like that. No, they're going to be specifically placed there. And of course, the excuse is that, well, this is YouTube's in terms of their responsibility as this agency, I don't know, where people exist on, and they don't, of course, want misinformation or certain type of things that are going to be out there. However, there is going to be allowable content. Expect you to see that. and expect that to be in higher viewership. I know you guys, some of you that are always on this site, you're definitely other creators, you already know this, that a lot of this is fake. I think with the whole Brie Larson, I don't say this to rag on Brie Larson. I am just saying, I'm using that as an example. That was possibly the most unorganic thing that I've ever seen, where she decided to create a YouTube. If you don't think that YouTube wasn't specifically backing her effort to do that and putting her in the discovery, having her be number one on trending, you're fooling yourself. And you can see that because the viewership obviously has fell off. If you have recently viewed her site, that was completely unorganic. It wasn't real. That was something that they expect to see a lot of that. Definitely as some of these celebrities, and definitely with the changing of YouTube because of them, to cater to them, but also the changing of Hollywood. I think we're going to see Hollywood flipped on its head, not because I think COVID just exposed and accelerated a lot of this. And they're going to be trying to scrape change in other areas. Some people are going to go out of their way to go to YouTube. If you don't think they're going to get favorable, unorganic placement by way of YouTube, by way of their agents or Hollywood themselves, saying, hey, man, one of our employees, representatives are going to be on your website, put them number one on some of the trending stuff here. All right, we got you. So expect a lot of that unorganic stuff and raising of authoritative content, which just spells disaster for channels like mine. Oh, man, because, oh, my God, how can that guy be using just sense? He doesn't have a medical doctorate. That ain't an argument either.